Part 33. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 325. Chapter 319 Snake Silk Gu. He took out a silver needle and picked up the old man's left hand. The thick calluses and the mud-filled finger joints indicate that this is a poor person at the bottom, struggling to make a living every day. Especially at his age, it makes people feel sad. Su Junming frowned slightly. He had seen many such people in the previous world. No matter where you are, the laws of humanity never change. Putting away his unnecessary thoughts, he picked up the middle finger of the old man's left hand and pierced the middle finger with a silver needle close to the gap between the fingers. Ah! With a low groan, the old man opened his eyes. Hey, he's awake. Look, he's awake. Old Niu, what do you think? I didn't expect that this guy is young but has very good medical skills. Hearing them praising his master, Chiao Shaoxin's face showed pride. Su Junming picked up the needle and put it away. Thank you, doctor, for saving my life. After the old man was helped up by everyone, his face was filled with gratitude. After nodding slightly. Get some more rest and don't have to rush on a hot day again. Yes. After nodding, the old man put his hand into his arms, obviously wanting to pay for the consultation. The money is no longer needed. When the old man heard what he said, the expression of gratitude on his face became even stronger. Back to the dinner table. Master, you are so amazing. Touched his little head. If you are interested, Master will pass it on to you. Well, I want to learn. Chiao Shaoxin nodded vigorously. While the two were talking, an old man wearing a navy blue silk gown, with grey hair and a hint of sadness in his eyebrows, walked over with a somewhat flattering smile. Give your hand as a gift. Little old man Yang Zonglin, meet the miracle doctor. I'm so polite, please sit down. Thank you. After sitting down, I just saw the miracle doctor giving acupuncture to save people. He was very admirable for his superb medical skills, so he couldn't help but come forward to pay his respects. I also hope that the miracle doctor will not blame the little old man for being rude. Su Junming smiled lightly. My husband is serious. If my guess is correct, the reason why I came here is to ask for something, right? Sir, you are really a genius. You can guess right. After a pause, he said, to be honest with you, sir, the third son of the old man's family also got ill for some unknown reason 5 days ago. His belly was as big as a drum, and he was still unconscious. The little old man was looking for all the famous doctors in the city are helpless. I just saw the miracle doctor administering acupuncture to save people with his superb medical skills, so I came here shamelessly. I hope the miracle doctor can save my son for the sake of his age. What he said was beautiful, but in fact he was just sick and sought medical attention. His son had seen so many doctors but could not cure him. He was getting thinner and thinner, and his days were running out. At this time, as long as he was a doctor, he wanted to bring his son to see if there was any way to cure him. I have to say that this time he did get it right. After using the bronze mirror to see that there was no evil spirit in this person, Su Junming nodded. It is a doctor's bounden duty to treat illnesses and save people. If my father-in-law asks me to do it, then I will do it. That's great, sir, please, the old man said happily. Xiner, have you eaten? Chiao Shaoxin nodded. Let's go. He followed Yang Zonglin out of the Zhang family's old store, got on his carriage, and went all the way to the county seat. This county is called Guiyang County, and it is still more than 200 miles away from Shijiang City where Su Junming wants to go. Master, are you back? Arriving at the door of the house, a young man in green clothes came out to greet him. Lefu, drive the carriage in through the back door. Why? Mr. Su, please come in. Su Junming nodded and stepped in. As soon as you enter the door, you will first see a screen wall with flower windows. After going around from the left, you will find a small courtyard paved with blue bricks. It can be seen that the Yang family is a wealthy family. There are many servants in the courtyard. Mr. Su, please. Take Su Junming into an attic in the backyard. As soon as he came in, he smelled a faint fishy smell. Frowning slightly, he followed Yang Zonglin up the stairs to the second floor. Pushing the door open, you are greeted by an elegantly furnished and somewhat elegant bedroom. On the large carved bed to the east, lying on his back was a young man with a pale face and sunken eye sockets, as if he was terminally ill. Next to her, a beautiful middle-aged woman wearing a dark purple floral dress and a golden bow in her hair was crying. A pretty maid stood behind her. The sound of the door opening attracted the attention of the beautiful woman and the maid. "Master, you are back." The beautiful middle-aged woman stood up and swallowed what she said after seeing Su Junming and the two of them. "This is a miracle doctor I met on the way back. I brought it over to show Chang'er," Yang Zonglin said. The middle-aged beautiful woman suddenly nodded and quickly stepped aside. Like her husband, she now has the mentality of treating a dead horse as a living horse. "Doctor. My son has troubled the doctor." After Su Junming nodded, he stepped forward and took a look, then turned sideways. "Xiner, come forward." "Master. Although you haven't studied the Fa for a long time, you still have some skills. Today I will test you as a teacher." "Master, but I don't know how to heal." "It doesn't matter. If you don't think well, you still have a teacher, so just let it go and help." Looking at the encouraging eyes of his master, Qiao Shaoxin nodded. The woman next to her was about to speak, but was stopped by Yang Zonglin. Qiao Shaoxin took 2 steps forward, looked at the face of the person on the bed for a moment, then lifted up the thin quilt and took off the person's middle coat. The inside was extremely bulging, comparable to the belly of a pregnant woman who was 8 months pregnant, and was exposed. What is even more surprising is that there are some thin black hairs under the skin of the belly, which are vaguely visible. Qiao Shaoxin sniffed, then grabbed the wrist of the man on the bed with his small hand, and after a moment of exploration with his magic power and consciousness. "Master, it seems to be snake silk goo." "Yes, Master's teachings to you are indeed not in vain." "Master, am I right?" Seeing him nod, Qiao Shaoxin's face showed a look of joy. "Now that you have found the crux of the problem, go ahead and relieve the pain for others." Qiao Shaoxin nodded, thought for a moment, and then turned around. "Old man, do you have any red eggs at home?" "Red eggs are eggs that have been fertilized and can hatch chicks." "Yes, yes." "Please, old man, bring 3 of them." Seeing that his son seemed to have a way to survive, Yang Zonglin was filled with excitement and expectation. "Lei Wang, Lei Wang." After shouting a few times, another boy in green clothes hurried in. "Master, are you looking for me?" "Go get 3 red eggs, be quick." "Yes, yes, I'll go right away." After giving the order, Yang Zonglin turned around, glanced at Su Junming, and then turned his earnest eyes to Qiao Shaoxin. "Little miracle doctor, what else do you want?" "I'll ask my servants to prepare it for you." "No, just 3 red eggs." The servants acted very quickly and delivered 3 red eggs in less than 5 minutes. Qiao Shaoxin picked up one, murmured something in his mouth, and changed his fingertips. After a subtle spiritual light penetrated the egg, a strange smell spread out. Visible to the naked eye, the black hair on the bloated belly of the person on the bed was twisting violently. Qiao Shaoxin put the egg on his navel, and the black hairs seemed like living creatures, drilling straight towards the egg. Snakes like to eat chickens the most, and the same goes for snake silk voodoo. Moreover, Qiao Shaoxin's creation power enhanced the taste of red eggs by more than 10 times. Put it in front of snake silk goo, not to mention a gluttonous feast. Seeing this scene, Yang Zonglin and his wife next to them looked scared and excited. This time they finally understood that they had found the right person. After the 3 eggs were used up and there were no more black hairs, Qiao Shaoxin put the 3 used red eggs into a bowl. Take it outside and burn it, then bury it deeply. Remember, don't touch it. Lai Wang nodded, carefully took the porcelain bowl, and walked out. When he came back, his face became extremely pale, and there was a hint of fear in his eyes. Judging from the swelling in his throat, it was obvious that he had vomited. He would never forget the densely packed egg skin with strange insects as thin as hair but as winding as snakes. After absorbing the snake silk poison with the red egg, Qiao Shaoxin patted the opponent's 12 acupoints including Pishu, Weishu, Zuzanli, Zongwan, and Sanyanjiao with his little hand. Puff. A long fart was released instantly, and a disgusting stench filled the bedroom. The opponent's bulging abdomen has also returned to flatness visibly to the naked eye. Su Junming waved his sleeves, creating a strong wind out of thin air. The sound of wind mixed with the stench flew out of the window, and the air in the bedroom instantly became fresh. Well. With a groan, the young man on the bed slowly opened his eyes. Father, mother. My son, you are awake. The woman had been frightened for so many days. She was so excited that she burst into tears. As a man, Yang Zonglin should be calmer after all. Taking a deep breath, he bowed to the master and apprentice. Yang Zonglin would like to thank the 2 miracle doctors for saving my son. It is a huge kindness that will never be forgotten. Su Junming nodded slightly. Can I ask Mr. Ling a few questions? Of course, of course. After Yang Zonglin nodded, he grabbed his crying wife and stepped away temporarily. Thank you to the miracle doctor for saving my life. His tone was weak, but his expression was full of gratitude. After Su Junming nodded, he raised his finger and shot out a spiritual light, which penetrated into his body. The spirit of the young man who was described as haggard instantly became much stronger, and his limp body gained strength. Struggling to sit up. I'll ask you a few questions and you answer them truthfully. Yang Yunchang knows everything he knows and tells everything he knows. Su Junming nodded. Who was the last person you saw before you fell into coma? It's my mother. No, I'm asking about people who make you feel uncomfortable or a little strange. Uncomfortable or weird person. Yang Yunchang frowned and thought for a moment, then a look of surprise appeared on his face. Chen Zhulang lives in the east of the city. Chen Zhulang. Well. Chen Zhulang and I have a close relationship. We were classmates in the academy, and we used to talk about classics and poems. Zhulang was very talented but arrogant and often ridiculed the facts. Therefore, he offended the examiner. He was not in high school several times. After this blow, he disappeared for a few years. His classmates thought he had gone on a study tour, and they didn't look for him again. About a month ago, Chen Zhulang suddenly came back. Not only did his temperament change drastically, but he also became much gloomier. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 326. Chapter 320 Chen Zhulang. 7 days ago, I held a banquet in Daiyu Tower to entertain Zhulang. But when he came back, he fell ill. Miracle doctor, is my illness caused by Chen Zhulang? I treat him as a friend in vain, but he actually harms me, Yang Yunchang said angrily. You should have a good rest. After looking at him, Su Junming didn't say much. He walked out with his apprentice. Miracle doctor, this is the old man's wish. I hope the doctor can accept it. Yang Zonglin sent over the silver coins he had prepared in advance. The number looks like 50 taels. This gift is not too light. Xiner, take it. Qiao Shaoxin nodded, took the silver and put it into his sleeve. Of course, the sleeves were just for cover, there was a green gourd given to her by Su Junming specifically for storage. Miracle doctor, I have prepared the meal. I hope the two miraculous doctors will move on. Thank you for the hospitality. I just had lunch at lunch. It hasn't been long now, so there is no need to eat any more. Now that Mr. Ling is awake, my master and apprentice will take their leave. Without giving Yang Zonglin a chance to stay, the master and apprentice quickly left the Yang mansion. Seeing Chiao Shaoxin hesitant to speak. If you have anything to say, just say it. Master, didn't you tell me that ascetics should always accumulate virtue and do good deeds? Why do we still accept money from others? Xiner, Master wants to ask you. If you didn't practice Taoism and were still an ordinary person, and you had warm clothes and enough food every day, would you still think about making money yourself? He didn't say anything about spiritual pursuits, because the biggest wish of the people at the bottom of this world is to have enough to eat every day. Chiao Shaoxin shook his head after thinking for a moment. The purpose of making money is to eat enough. If you can eat enough, who would want to work hard and humiliate to earn hard-earned money? If people get used to being taken care of by others, they will become lazy. In the same way, if we give things for free, over time, they will be taken for granted. Our Taoist accumulation of virtue and good deeds do not encourage laziness, greed, and other unhealthy tendencies. So, in addition to the widows, lonely people, the elderly, the sick and other vulnerable groups, we all need to be rewarded for doing good deeds and slaying demons. Moreover, the rich will receive more and the poor will receive less, but we have to accept it. You, remember. Su Junming looked solemn. This was the reason why his eyes were entrusted to him when he first started practicing Taoism. Master, I remember. Patted her little head. And the money collected can be used to help those orphans and widows who really need money to live, such as Grandma Chen in Qiajia village and Xuanzhu's family. Chiao Shaoxin's eyes were bright and she nodded vigorously. Su Junming has a smile on his face, and Chiao Shao is kind-hearted. As a master, he must carefully protect this kindness, and at the same time, not let others take advantage of him. Master, where should we go next? Go and meet that Chen Zhuolang. A villain who uses snake silk poison to harm people cannot be left in the world. After that, he tapped the soul-catching bell on his waist, and the pendulum of the bell turned into an arrow, guiding the master and apprentice through the streets and alleys to the outside of a house in the east of the city. Compared to the wealthy Yang family, the Chen family is much more dilapidated. Half of the courtyard wall made of rammed lois fell down, but it was not rebuilt. Instead, it was bundled with hay branches and blocked. The courtyard gate, which had been eroded by wind and rain, smelled of decay. The tiles on the roof had fallen off, and the gaps were filled with weeds. Master, the smell is so strong. Chiao Shaoxin wrinkled her little nose. It's snake silk goo. Satisfied with the little apprentice's alertness, he patted her little head. Be careful when you go in. He pointed like a knife, his true energy bursting out, and the iron chain locking the door broke instantly. Accompanied by a slightly hoarse friction sound, Su Junming pushed open the courtyard door. Shishi. It was extremely subtle, but to Master Su Junming's ears, it sounded like the sound of thunder. Countless green filaments flew through the air. At the same time, the pungent fishy smell became stronger and stronger. Master, I'm coming. Su Junming, who was about to take action, stopped. Chiao Shao pinched his heart with his fingers, his face was solemn. Fire ring technique. Flames emerged from under the feet, spinning, rushing over the head like a storm, and then spraying out in all directions like a high-pressure water gun. In an instant, all the snake silk goo were reduced to ashes under the fierce fire. However, despite the raging fire, the dilapidated courtyard door was not damaged at all. It can be seen that Chiao Shaoxin has superb control over the magic. Well done. Hearing the master's praise, Qiao Shaoxin finished laughing. Walking around the screen wall in front, you can see 3 dilapidated adobe houses in front of you. At the door of the main hall, a young man wearing a green gown and a scribe's scarf, with a slender face and a gloomy temperament looked at the approaching master and apprentice Su Junming with an unkind expression. "Who are you? Don't you know that not only is it disrespectful to come in without telling you, but it can also easily make the host family angry and cost you your life?" Speaking of which, his words already contained murderous intent. "Are you Chen Zhuolang?" Chen Zhuolang secretly became wary. "Good. Did you cast the snake silk poison on the 3rd son of the Yang family? Were you brought by Yang Yunchang to deal with me? He regards you as a close friend, why do you want to harm him?" Su Junming answered the question inappropriately. "Best friend? Haha, what a bullshit best friend. What bothers me the most is that he is aloof and acts like a rich man. Every time he lends me some silver, it's like giving away money. I've had enough of it for a long time. Why is it that he is not as knowledgeable as me and can even pass high school exams? And I am obviously better than him, but I fail in repeated tests? Isn't it because he has a good father and can bribe the county magistrate of Tongzhou?" After finishing speaking excitedly, Chen Zhuolang took a deep breath with a crazy smile on his face. "However, no matter how good his background is, he is still not as good as me. I have already stepped into spiritual practice, and he will always be just an ordinary person." Looking at Su Junming, the murderous intent in his eyes became stronger and stronger. "You actually stood up for him, so go to hell." With a flash of inspiration, countless black snake silk goo came overwhelmingly. The number was more than 10 times greater than when they were at the door just now. Su Junming stood with his hands behind his back and made no unnecessary movements. A scream sounded beside him. "Fireball!" The 3-foot-sized fireball, with its billowing flames, instantly drowned the densely packed snake silk goo. Su Junming had a flash of inspiration. A spatial barrier instantly isolated the entire courtyard from the outside world. The flame went out, and Chen Zhuolang still stood there, but his face was a little shocked. There is a black flag in the hand that moves automatically without wind. Judging from the aura, it is a top-notch magic weapon. Black evil flag. Chen Zhuolang waved the black flag in his hand. 3 lines of black mist as thick as a bucket, like snakes, twined towards Su Junming and the 2 of them. Fire palm. Qiao Shaoxin clapped her small hands, and under the influence of the magic power of creation, the ordinary flame palm instantly turned into a 5-foot-long sky-holding giant palm. The huge palm stretched across the sky, and the flames were like billows. The 3 pieces of black mist were unable to resist and were smashed to pieces. "Spare your life, I am the Black Heart Cult." Before he could finish his words, he was beaten into pieces by the giant flame palm. The scorching flames exploded, and the 3 earthen houses were instantly razed to the ground by the tyrannical giant palm. Looking at the charred and slightly glazed land in the middle, Qiao Shaoxin lowered his head, as if he had made a mistake. "Master, I killed someone." Seeing his little apprentice looking like he was about to cry, Su Junming sighed slightly. He reached out and touched the soft black hair on her head. "Don't be sad, you are not wrong. For an evil person, killing him is not a fault, but a merit. Otherwise, if you let him go out of kindness, countless good people will suffer. What's more, Chen Zhuolang practices goo magic and secretly harms people, so he deserves to die. By killing him, you can save many people like Mr. Yang who should have been killed by him." "Really?" Qiao Shaoxin raised his head and asked in surprise. He raised his hand to wipe the tears from her face. "Of course it's true. Remember, in the future, as a layman, whether it's killing demons or saving lives and healing the wounded, you just want to have a clear conscience. Nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be ashamed of." After nodding heavily, Qiao Shaoxin's face was solemn. Master, Xiner remembers it. Patted her head. Tidy up this place, we should go. After that, Su Junming made a move with his right hand, and a grain of yellow rice flew from the ground into his palm and disappeared. Because of the space barrier he set up, the fighting here did not affect the people around him. As for what will happen after the two of them leave, Su Junming doesn't care. At night, Su Junming did not go back to Daihuang Mountain. Instead, he casually built a house in the wild and used earth escape skills to sleep in the open air. Qiao Shaoxin was meditating next to him. Su Junming looked at it for a while. After seeing that his breathing was still stable and that he had no inner demons due to what happened in the afternoon, he felt relieved and took out the yellow rice containing Chen Zhulang's soul. The memory, which was not long, was quickly read by him. The Black Heart demon cult seems to have been seen in the memory of the Sirius King. Touched his chin. He casually threw Chen Zhulang's soul into the Huangquan River. Millions of souls have gathered in this turbid river. Most of them are the originally refined military souls of the Zhao army in Changping and the military souls of the Qin army in Mobei. Originally, Su Junming planned to refine the evil spirits on them and then send them to the underworld for reincarnation. Unexpectedly, when he recovered from his injuries and prepared to implement this plan, the underworld suddenly lost contact with the human world. In desperation, he left these souls in Yimen Huangliang. As for the underworld of this world, he has never come into contact with it. Demon Fox Hongyu, there are quite a few people interested in you. From Chen Zhulang's memory, we learned that the reason why he came to Guiyang County with his master was because they followed the secret order of the sect and came here to look for traces of the demon Fox Hongyu. Chen Zhulang stayed in the county town, and several of his senior brothers and sisters stayed in several surrounding towns. Master Haisha Taoist was originally also in the county town, but for some unknown reason last night, after giving him a few words, he suddenly left. After thinking for a moment, Su Junming urged Yi Gua. The destiny talisman aura bloomed in Danshan and stopped after a long time. He sighed slowly. He used the Yi hexagram to calculate the location of the demon Fox Hongyu, but except for Shijiang City, he could not get any more information. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 327. We can only wait until we get there in a few days and take a look again. After reading the memories of the Sirius King, he was also interested in what the demon Fox Hongyu had in his hands. The darkness gradually receded and the sky slowly brightened. The master and the apprentice played Bajuanjin 3 times and then set out on the road. As for the house, just like when he was in Uncle Ju's world, it was reserved for merchants to rest. Master, what a rich water vapor. Su Junming nodded, hearing the sound of rushing water. We're almost at Shijiang. Qiao Shaoxin nodded his head, smiled happily and quickened his pace. At the age of 11, she was at the age where she was curious about everything. She had long wanted to see the largest river in Shijiang province with her own eyes. Master, let's go quickly. Su Junming stepped forward with a smile. After the master and apprentice walked forward for more than 10 miles, a big river appeared in front of them. Endless blue waves are rolling in from a distance, the water waves are rolling, and the river is majestic. From a distance, it is no less than 1,000 meters wide. The rich aura of water energy surrounds the whole body. What a great river! Master, Shijiang River is really wide, much wider than Biang River. Qiao Shaoxin exclaimed. Su Junming nodded in agreement. As the largest river in Shijiang province, Shijiang River stretches for more than 3,000 miles and originates deep in the Daheng Mountains. The width is up to 1,000 meters, and the narrowness is hundreds of meters. The surging river water has nourished countless people on both sides of the Zhejiang River. However, such a large river can only be considered average in the entire Daong. It is said that Longjiang, which stretches across the southern part of Daong and spans tens of thousands of miles, is the real number one river in Daong. Zhejiang River is just one of dozens of larger tributaries of Longjiang River. The master and the apprentice looked at it for a while, then found a boat owner on the pier, paid the silver and boarded the boat, and went down the river. Sitting on the bow of the boat, looking at the red flowers and green willows on both sides of the river, and occasionally looming villages and towns, the unique scenery is really unforgettable. Qiao Shaoxin, who was traveling with his master for the first time, couldn't take his eyes off him and often praised him. Su Junming frowned slightly. Evil spirit. A bronze mirror appeared in his pupils. He stood on the bow of the boat and looked into the water. He saw a huge green snake swimming through the water more than 10 feet deep under the boat. Judging by his aura, he must be at least in the middle stage of Jindan. Master. Qiao Shaoxin came over. Judging from her expression, it was obvious that she had also discovered the green snake under the boat. Don't worry about it. This green snake didn't have much aura of injustice, so he didn't want to meddle in other people's business. However, not long after the boat sailed forward, the wind and clouds suddenly changed, dark clouds gathered in the sky, the river was mighty, and there was a thunderstorm. Sir, the weather on the river is changeable, and there are often heavy rains. Look at this day, it will rain soon. To avoid accidents, we need to take shelter in the fork of the river on the bank first. In that case, let's hide for a while. After saying that, Su Junming glanced at the sky in the distance. In the dense black clouds, one red and one white, two dragons are fighting. In the river below them, hundreds of shrimp soldiers and crabs will fight fiercely. The reason why sudden thunderstorms occur in the Xia River is because they activate the magic power and stir up the wind and clouds. The boss of the boat skillfully steered the boat and quickly found a large bay on the bank of the Zhejiang River and sailed into it. There are many boats taking shelter here from the wind and rain, most of them are low-awning boats. Only the center, a gorgeous 3-story ship, stands out from its piers and attracts everyone's attention. Su Junming is no exception. This is the ship of the Fu family, a wealthy family in Zhejiang City. Seeing his curiosity, the ship boss spoke. Fu family. The ship boss nodded and continued. The Fu family is a well-known official family in Zhejiang. Generations of people have served as officials in the court. Especially now, Mr. Fu Linfu is the Taifu of the current court and has a first-class official position. What's even more rare is that the Fu family's family tradition is upright. Most of the Fu family's children in the officialdom are honest officials and have benefited the whole country, which is admirable. Su Junming nodded slightly and smiled. I didn't expect the ship boss to know the Fu family so well. The boat owner, who is over 30 years old and has been running boats all year round, has a tanned complexion due to the sun, showing a hint of embarrassment on his face. He waved his left hand slightly panicked. Mr. Gen made me laugh. I usually just eat and drink and listen to what others say. I just said it casually, and you just heard it? Don't take it seriously. Su Junming smiled slightly and said nothing more. Looking at the building boat in the river bend, with the help of the bronze mirror, you can clearly see the merit energy permeating the building boat. Obviously, the people in this boat are also people with profound merits. This supports the words of the ship boss Fu family that they are honest officials. Amidst the wind and rain, the sky gradually darkened. The two masters and apprentices, plus the boss of the ship, huddled in the cabin. Sir, would you like to take a few sips of wine to warm yourself up? Su Junming thanked him and took it. After sniffing, he nodded. Tasty. This is Shayadazi from the Linjia winery in Linjia town. Although it is not a famous wine, it has a pure taste and is not overpowering. Every time I sail there, I have to buy a gourd. After Su Junming nodded, he raised his head and took a sip. The spicy wine flowed down his throat, and a warm current surrounded his stomach and intestines. This long-lost feeling made him subconsciously squint his eyes to enjoy it. Although his body was no longer afraid of the cold weather, perhaps it was due to his psychology. After taking 2 sips of wine, he felt that the coldness in his body had dissipated and he had become warmer. Good wine. Master, can I have a sip? Seeing Chiao Shaoxin's curious eyes, Su Junming smiled and handed over the wine gourd. After taking it, the little girl put it to her mouth and took a sip. Oh, it's so spicy. The little hand fanned the tip of his tongue and the frown on his face was indescribably cute. Ha ha. Seeing him like this, Su Junming and the ship boss laughed at the same time. The hearty laughter spread far and wide in the dark night. If only I could laugh as loudly as they do, cough cough cough. A young man in a brocade hat and mink fur covered his mouth and coughed violently. Master, it's rainy and cold, and you're not in good health. We'd better go back as soon as possible. The maid behind her looked worried and quickly added the thick clothes in her hand. The young man nodded, his face was slightly blue, he tightened his tight clothes, turned around and walked into the cabin. Before the door could be closed, a middle-aged woman wearing a brocade robe and a gold hairpin came up from below. When she saw the situation in front of her, she suddenly became angry. How many times have I told you that the young master is not in good health, so don't take him outside the cabin. This slave deserves to die. The 2 maids were so frightened that they knelt down. Ancia, don't punish them. I insisted on going out. The cabin is too stuffy. The young man said quickly. The woman surnamed Xia calmed down her anger. For the sake of the young master interceding for you, I will be exempted from the punishment this time. If there is another time, I will be punished with the principal and interest. Thank you, master. Thank you for the offering. Get up. The 2 maids stood up shakily and stood beside him, as silent as a cicada. Looking at the young man, the face of the woman surnamed Xia softened instantly. Master, you are not in good health and it is cold and windy outside. Please do not go out. Otherwise, if something happens to you, how can I explain to you? The young man nodded gently. Ancia, I understand. I won't go out again. Seeing him like this, the woman surnamed Xia showed a look of pity on her face. Although this young man was born into a well-fed family, he had been frail and sick since he was a child. Famous doctors from all over Daong were helpless, and even many experts in the spiritual world could only slow down the disease but could not cure it. Growing up to this age, I have been suffering from this disease every day. But even so, he never complained. It's so cute that it's heartbreaking. The woman surnamed Xia was about to say something when her expression suddenly changed. He ducked to the window and opened it. At some point, the wind and rain stopped. The river bend is extremely quiet at night, but strangely, there is no starlight in the sky, but it is dim and dark, which looks a bit strange. After walking in the spiritual world for many years, the woman surnamed Xia instinctively sensed that something was wrong. Keep an eye on the young master. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw 100-foot-long torrent in mid-air, like a falling Milky Way, overwhelmingly hitting the building and the ship. The huge sound of water was deafening. The surging momentum left no doubt that if it really hit the ship, it would capsize in an instant. Fire Dragon Whip. He raised his hand and a long red whip flew out. Under the influence of the woman's magic power, the bright red fire flew out from the whip, and in the blink of an eye turned into a giant flame dragon that was 100 feet long. With a bang, it collided with the water flow. In an instant, the fog filled most of the river bay. But the mist was quickly dried by the flames. The woman surnamed Xia flew up and stood on the top of the boat, looking at the green snake dragon that was half hidden and half visible in the air. Aolai, Our Fu family and your Shijiang monster clan have always been on the same page. Why did you openly intercept my Fu family's boat? Aren't you afraid that Mr. Fu will destroy your Shijiang monster clan in a rage? Destroy our Xiajiang monster clan? Hee, do you think you can get out alive this time? A loud voice sounded from the blue snake dragon's body. If you want to keep me, Aoli can't do it with just you. Hee, so I brought a helper this time. Next to it, there is another red bull dragon, emerging from the clouds. Ao Fang. The face of the woman surnamed Xia changed. Just now you. Yes, we did cause sparks to fly just now. However, if this were not the case, how could we block Xiajiang and make you obediently come into the pocket we arranged? The woman surnamed Xia's heart sank. Both of these dragons have perfected the golden elixir. They only need to overcome the tribulation to become a master of nascent soul. I can block at most one of them. If the two of them go together, they will probably stay here. Why? The Fu family has no grudge against you, and has never interfered with the succession of Dragon King Xiajiang. Someone made an offer we couldn't refuse. What conditions? Aoli, don't talk nonsense to her. Be careful of long nights and many dreams, said the red ox dragon named Ao Fang. Aoli nodded, opened his mouth and sprayed, a water blue bead shone brightly, and the tyrannical water essence stirred up a torrent of water, hitting the woman surnamed Xia directly. The red bull dragon also opened its mouth, but what it spurted out was not water, but surging waves of fire. The entanglement of water and fire was more than twice as powerful. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 328. Chapter 322 Xiajiang Cheng. When the woman surnamed Xia saw this, she gritted her teeth and tightened her grip on the fire dragon whip in her hand. Just when she was about to give her all, a nine-color divine light came from the sky. With a swipe in the air, the torrent of water and fire, which was hundreds of feet long and could destroy mountains, disappeared out of thin air. The two dragons were instantly frightened. What they are doing is not visible, otherwise the entire Shijiang monster clan would be dead, let alone them. They wouldn't take the risk if their employer hadn't offered them benefits they couldn't refuse. Who, come out. Aoli and Ao Fang stared at a simple awning boat below. This was where the nine-color divine light just appeared. The two little dragon snakes are really bold. They started a big war and blocked the waterway. Pandeo was in a good mood, so he didn't care about you. He never thought that the Secret Service was plotting and openly killing people. In this case, Pandeo will be eliminated by the people. Harmed. You are so pretentious that you really think our brothers are afraid of you. Before Aoli finished speaking, he saw a magnificent sword energy rising into the sky. A tyrannical sword intent that cuts off the cholera demon in the world fills the sky and the earth. The sword light of hundreds of feet flew across the sky. Tisk. With the ear-piercing sound of cracking silk, the restriction over the river bend was instantly broken. The starry sky outside appeared in front of me again. At the same time, bullheads and snakeheads as big as houses fell from above, accompanied by sprays of red blood, like a hot turbid current. A nine-color divine light shot past the sky. The two dragon corpses, together with the restrictions above them, were all gone. The moon was bright, the stars were sparse, and the breeze was gentle. It was a quiet and charming night. Everything just happened seemed like a dream. But all sane people know that it is not a dream. The woman surnamed Xia was smart enough to react and quickly bowed to the awning boat. Xia Hongxia would like to thank Senior for saving his life. He also invites Senior Yuji to come so that Hongxia can thank him in person. There's no need to thank you in person, Pandeo just happened to meet you at the right time. As soon as he finished speaking, the awning boat quickly left the river bend and disappeared into the night like a sharp arrow. Master, why don't we get on that boat? Do you want to go? Xiao Shaoxin shook his head. Xiner just wants to stay with master. Patting her little head, Su Junming looked at the river bend that was getting further and further away. The reason why master doesn't get on that boat is because he doesn't want to get into that big trouble yet. Su Junming's eyes flickered. The Daong dynasty in this world has the Xianjing division that monitors the world. The child on the building boat has purple energy and a very precious destiny. He is obviously a direct descendant of the Fu family. If those two dragons dared to attack him, there must be an extremely powerful mastermind behind them. After all, not everyone can withstand the pressure of Xianjingxi, the most powerful force in Daong. In this case, the involvement is very deep. Su Junming's current cultivation level is only the golden elixir perfection, and he has not yet recovered the nascent soul. Moreover, the Dahong Mountain incident still had its tail to be dealt with, and the demon fox Hongyu had not been found. For the time being, he did not want to get involved in new troubles. I used Yimeng Huangliang to read the memories of two dragons. Su Junming found an acquaintance. The master of Chenjulang who was killed by him in Guiyang County was the Taoist Black Evil. It was this man who instigated two dragons to intercept and kill the young master of the Fu family, Fu Tianzhou, and the price was 4 Taishang Qi replenishing pills. This elixir is a middle-grade qi-enhancing elixir from Dedong. One pill can replenish all the mana of a Yuanying 3 transformation monk. This elixir is especially important for those who have perfected the golden elixir and are about to overcome the tribulation. It allows them to have enough mana to activate their natal spiritual weapons or spells to withstand the catastrophe. No wonder Ao Li and Ao Fang are willing to work so hard. This elixir is more valuable than any treasure to them who are about to survive the calamity. With these 4 pills, I can understand the formula of the Taishang Qi replenishing pill, and Vivian will be more confident about advancing to the nascent soul realm. Su Junming, who had gained a good harvest, was also a little happy. The black-topped boat went straight down the river until the sky was bright and a huge city was revealed under the morning light in the distance. Wow, it's so big. Master, is that Zhejiang City? Xiao Shaoxin stood at the bow of the ship and exclaimed. Yes. This is Zhejiang City. Su Junming was also a little surprised in his heart. Although in the 21st century, he has seen cities larger than this. But they don't have towering city walls that are hundreds of miles long and dozens of feet high like Zhejiang City. With such a huge ancient city, even with his knowledge, his horizons were instantly broadened. Zhejiang City is just the provincial capital of Zhejiang Province. I really don't know how majestic Zhongzhou City, the imperial capital of Daong Dynasty, is. After thinking about it for a while, he shook his head slightly, and with a flick of his fingers, the captain who was unconscious in the cabin woke up. He rubbed his forehead and got up. When he saw the majestic Zhejiang City in the distance from the corner of his eye, he was immediately stunned. Are we here? How could we be here? Aren't we in Yujiawan? After the storm stopped last night, I saw you were drunk so I didn't wake you up and drove here by myself, Su Junming said. You drive a boat? Su Junming smiled slightly. When I was young, I often followed my father on the boat, so I am quite familiar with the work on the water. Of course, these words were just used to deceive the ship boss. Regardless of whether he believed it or not, there was money anyway, so he believed it even if he didn't believe it. The boss of the boat was asked to drive the boat to the dock. The master and the apprentice, who had already paid the boat fee, jumped out. Zhejiang City's wharf is extremely wide. Even if it is just a passenger wharf, it is still 300 meters wide. The cargo terminal not far away is even more than 1,000 meters long and nearly 100 meters deep. After briefly taking a look at the wharf, which was full of people and noisy as if it were boiling, Su Junming led his apprentice towards the majestic Zhejiang City not far away. Naturally, such a large city would not have only one gate, but the depth of the gate was unprecedented. The distance of 30 meters is like a tunnel. The entrance was guarded by soldiers wearing soft armor and holding spears. They had strong auras. They were obviously strong men with a certain level of martial arts. After passing through the city gate, there was an urn city with a blue brick floor. After paying a copper coin entry tax to the gatekeeper, the master and the apprentice followed the flow of people into Shijiang City. Baozai, hot buns fresh from the oven. Pass by, don't miss it. The freshly picked Huang peaches are crisp, sweet, and delicious, and they are sold cheaply. Take a look, the cotton cloth weaved at home is fine. The sounds of various transactions, mixed with the strong atmosphere of the market, rushed towards the face. Su Junming has seen so much that it's nothing. It was the first time for Jiao Shaoxin to see such a lively scene, but he was dazzled by it, and everything seemed strange. Go ahead, didn't you make some money? Buy whatever you want. Jiao Shaoxin, with bright eyes, nodded. Just as he was about to take a step forward, he retracted his steps. What's wrong? Master said that the money earned should be used to help the poor and should not be spent randomly. Su Junming laughed dumbly. It's rare for you to have such a heart. However, although doing good deeds is a merit, you don't need to be harsh on yourself. Seeing the hesitation on Jiao Shaoxin's face, he couldn't help but stroke her head lovingly. If you are not sure about paying attention, then Master will help you. From now on, you will spend half of the money you earn, and the remaining half will be used to make merit. Master, I can't spend that much money. Haha, it depends on you. Although Master has set the rules, sometimes you have to be flexible. Jiao Shaoxin tilted his head and thought for a while, with a look of joy on his face. Master, I understand. I understand, let's go play. The little guy nodded, turned, and ran towards the bun shop he coveted. Apparently he was already starved for the smell of meat. Looking at her back, Su Junming couldn't help but reveal a doting smile on his face. He has been a human being for 2 lives and has experienced 3 worlds, but he has always been alone. He treats the disciples who inherit the mantle as his own children. The eldest disciple Qinzhong, as the eldest son, has the strictest requirements and has to teach him a lesson at every turn. But Su Junming spent the most time on him. When he was in Uncle Ju's world, he took the most various pills, and all the blood of the mythical beasts stripped from Ying Zheng was left to him. The second disciple, Lin Zhenying, received a lot of attention, and although he was a little worse than Qinzhong, he still had no shortage of various spiritual weapons. And with Uncle Ju here, he had a unique growth environment. The third disciple, Jiao Shaoxin, was raised by Su Junming as his own daughter, and he invested more affection in her than in Qinzhong and Lin Zhenying. When I see her, I always feel like a caring little cotton-padded jacket. Of course, Jiao Shaoxin is well-behaved and kind-hearted, with outstanding talents, and there is a strength hidden under his delicate appearance. This is why Su Junming cares more and more about her. Master, come quickly, the buns here are delicious. Jiao Shaoxin held a big bun in her mouth and waved to him from a distance. Coming. Su Junming strode over with a smile on his face. The master and apprentice ate and went shopping together. But Shijiang City is too big and has too many prosperous places to visit in one day. Return to Daihuang Mountain temporarily at night. The next day, Su Junming found a dental shop, bought a 2-bedroom house in the outer city, and settled down temporarily. The 7 days passed quickly. Su Junming, who was sitting under the pavilion in the backyard, stretched out his hand and patted it. A space passage appeared in the void in front of him. After a short time, a magic bag flew over from it. After catching it, his spiritual consciousness soaked into it. He stretched out his hand and a long black flag flew out. The long flags moved automatically without wind, filled with an astonishing evil spirit. You can clearly feel the thick Xianyan evil spirit inside without any need for sacrificial training. This treasure is called the Swanyan Demon Banner. It is a 4-level forbidden magic weapon. It originally belonged to an evil sect called the Suanyan Zhenjian in the Shijiang cultivation world. Now Su Junming controlled Lu Pan and the Sirius King to kill him together. Of course, the physical body is retained for him to use as a puppet. However, the merit of killing this man did not allow him to completely recover his cultivation. Fortunately, there are still a few evil cultivators in the nascent soul stage in Zhejiang province, but they are a little difficult to deal with. Dong dong. There was a knock on the door. Su Junming frowned slightly and threw the Suanyan evil flag and the magic bag in his hand into Daihuang Mountain. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 329. Come to the front yard and open the door. A young man wearing a white robe, holding a jade flute, with a face like a crown jade, handsome appearance and a noble prince-like appearance appeared outside the door. It's you. Su Junming said. You know me. The young man holding Xiao smiled. Xianjing Division Zhejiang Provincial Station Commander Ye Wengxiao. After reading the memories of the Sirius King, Su Junming was certainly no stranger to IP Man Xiao. Ye Wengxiao nodded. We probably haven't met before. You don't necessarily know someone after you've met them. Just like now, you haven't met me before, so you've found my home. Haha, that's true. He paused and said with a smile, don't invite me in to sit down. Su Junming turned sideways. Please. Stepping in, looking at the simple farmhouse courtyard. I didn't expect that Su Junming, the master of Chongshan who killed the Sirius King and became famous in the Zhejiang cultivation world, actually lives in a place like this. As long as you have the Tao in your heart, where is the blessed land of Lingshan? Ye Wengxiao was stunned for a moment, then smiled. Compared to fellow Taoists, I am at a disadvantage. Su Junming smiled lightly. Please sit down. After Ye Wengxiao nodded, he sat down on the stone bench. He turned and glanced at the tall pomegranate tree next to him. The aura of this tree is rich. Although it is an ordinary product, it has a hint of spirituality. I guess it is the handiwork of a fellow Taoist, right? Perhaps influenced by Uncle Nine and Four Eyes in the previous world, Su Junming also likes to plant a pomegranate tree in the yard. Drinking tea and chatting under the tree on weekdays is always a pleasure. Now, even though I have come to this world, this habit I have developed over the years has been inherited. And he was unwilling to change it? It made the commander laugh. Ye Wengxiao waved his hand. I don't dare to laugh, but I am very impressed. Ye Wengxiao has practiced Taoism for hundreds of years and has seen hundreds of geniuses. But Taoist friends like him are proficient in Huishan Taoism, Puppet Taoism, Sword Taoism, and King Mu Taoism. This is the first time I've seen such a talented person. After a pause, Ye Wengxiao narrowed his eyes slightly. I just don't know where you have cultivated such an amazing art. The commander came here just to ask me these questions, right? Su Junming said calmly. Of course not. Ye Wengxiao patted the bag on his waist, and a wooden jar appeared in his palm. In the past 6 months, my fellow Taoists have killed thousands of demons and saved countless troubles for our Xianjing Division. As the commander of the Zhejiang Provincial Station of the Xianjing Division, Ye certainly has to come and express his gratitude. I heard that fellow Taoist likes to drink tea, so I brought a bucket of spiritual tea as a thank you gift. I hope fellow Taoist will not dislike it. Thank you very much, Commander, for your kindness. I don't think anyone would dislike a bucket of Dongsuan's top-quality spiritual tea. Ye Wengxiao's eyes flashed. How do fellow Taoists know the details of my spiritual tea? Su Junming pursed his lips. Guess. Ye Wengxiao's lips trembled. After glancing at him, Su Junming waved his left hand, and a tea set suddenly appeared on the stone table in the middle. It activates the water spirit energy to turn into water flow, condenses the flame, and boils it. If the commander doesn't mind, how about brewing this spiritual tea now? Since it is something given to fellow Taoist naturally has the right to decide. Su Junming nodded, stretched out his hand, and with long fingers like pine needles, golden tea leaves flew out of the tea can. Ye Wengxiao's pupils narrowed slightly. The restriction he set on the tea can is extremely powerful, and a monk at the Golden Core realm cannot break it in a short time without the use of hand techniques. But now, Su Junming waved his hand and came without any hindrance, revealing extremely high Taoist cultivation. This person's realm of Hushan Taoism has probably reached the peak of the nascent soul realm. Observing the change in Ye Wengxiao's expression, Su Junming smiled from the bottom of his heart and handed over the teacup. Only by showing his strength appropriately and increasing his weight in this person's heart can he launch his next plan. Please. Thank you. The two of them took a sip each. What do you think, fellow Taoist Su? It's soft in the mouth, salivating on the lips and teeth, and the aroma penetrates directly into the gastrointestinal tract. It is indeed a rare and high-quality spiritual tea. The name of this tea is Zaijin. It is the spiritual root cultivated by Jing Man, the commander of Shanyang province of the Xianjing division. If I hadn't had a close relationship with him, I'm afraid it would be difficult to obtain it. Su has heard the name of Shenmue Tianzan Jing Man countless times. But I didn't expect that this tea was made by him. Put down the teacup. If this good friend of mine meets a fellow Taoist, I'm sure we'll hit it off right away. Why? My Taoist friend King Mu Tao is an extraordinary practitioner, and what Jing Man likes most is discussing Taoism with fellow Taoists who are also practicing King Mu Tao. That being the case, I would like to pay a visit when I get the chance. Haha, if there is a chance, I will definitely introduce him to fellow Taoists. After laughing, Ye Wengxiao picked up the teacup. I use tea instead of wine to thank fellow Taoist for killing the Heavenly Wolf King and eradicating the Daheng Mountain Monster clan for our Shijiang province. This fellow Taoist will make our 4 prefectures of Shijiang, Zhongling, Beishi, Fengkaiu, and Kongyang, tens of millions of common people will no longer suffer from evil disasters in hundreds of years. Su Junming picked up the teacup and drank it all in one gulp. Since we know it is a disaster, why didn't fellow Taoist Ye destroy Daheng Mountain and get rid of the Heavenly Wolf King earlier? When you are in public, sometimes you can't help yourself. Su Junming nodded. No matter what era the dynasty was in, stable rule was always ranked first. As long as it doesn't cause trouble, they rarely initiate killings. As the tool of the Daong dynasty to rule the world, Suan Jingxi naturally ranks stability first. Although the demon clan of Daheng Mountain often bites people, they still know how to exercise restraint. Coupled with the constraints of the Shijiang monster clan, in order to protect the peace of the cultivation world in Shijiang province, Ye Wengxiao did not want to suddenly start a killing. Su Junming understood, but he looked down upon this appeasement policy. Sometimes, I really envy my Taoist friends for being free and able to live according to their own preferences. This way of living is also very dangerous, Su Junming said. Ye Wengxiao nodded. Things in the world are always like this. If you gain something, you will lose something. There was a pause. Do you know, fellow Taoist, that the Sirius King has a son? Prince Silver Wolf. Yes. It is said that when this child was born, the rays of light fell from the sky and he was born with a spiritual treasure in his arms. He was born with the magical power of Xiaoyu of the Sirius clan. Ye Wengxiao continued. Later, Master Dajoshan Shenying passed by and accepted him as his disciple. Now more than 10 years have passed, and even if the son's cultivation is not as good as Yuan Ying, he is at the top of the golden core. Plus, with the spiritual treasure in hand, the strength must be astonishing. Brother Su destroyed the demon clan of Daheng Mountain and killed the Heavenly Wolf King. We must prevent the son from seeking revenge. Especially his master, Master Daju Mountain Condor. This old man has been famous for hundreds of years. He has reached the 12 transformations of the nascent soul as early as 50 years ago. Although he has not survived the heavenly tribulation for many years, his strength is unpredictable, especially the way of wind and thunder. Besides, Master Shenying has 2 disciples, not counting Prince Silver Wolf. The eldest disciple, Zhujiang, is known as Venerable Muley. He has the cultivation level of the 9 transformations of nascent soul, possesses thunder skills, and is domineering. Second disciple by Lingyun, known as Venerable Mu Feng, has the cultivation level of the 4 transformations of Yuan Ying, is proficient in wind techniques, and has a banana fan to control the 13 mansions in Tianese. If fellow Taoist kills Prince Silver Wolf, he will offend Master Shenying's lineage, and the consequences will be endless. After Ye Wengxiao finished speaking, the atmosphere in the venue became a little more solemn. In fact, Su Junming, who had read the memories of the Serious King, had a clear understanding of the dangerous situation he would face in the future. It was precisely because of this that he did not hesitate to sacrifice the other puppets to train Lu Pan to the nascent soul realm. The purpose is to kill more evil cultivators in the nascent soul realm, accumulate merit, and unlock his own strength as soon as possible. As long as there is no heavenly blockade, he can use the essence and blood of the Huosang Lord in his hand to quickly improve his physical cultivation. As long as his physical body is strong enough, with his level at the purple talisman stage of the divine fighting way, he can definitely borrow the combat power of the Yuan Shen realm. Then Master Condor will no longer be so scary. Thank you, fellow Taoist Ye, for telling the truth, but the matter has already been done, and regretting it now will not help. What's more, even if he knows this, Su's determination to kill the Serious King and destroy Daheng Mountain will not change. If Prince Silver Wolf comes to seek revenge, there is no other way but to kill him. If you offend Master Shenying because of this, haha, Su has no worries, and the worst he can do is run away. There is always a place for Su in the 30,000 miles of rivers and mountains in Daong. If it doesn't work, there is a vast world beyond Daong. Can Master Shenying keep chasing me? Su Junming said with a smile. It seems that fellow Taoist Su has already thought of a way out. Everything is done beforehand. Failure to do so will result in failure. Su only has one life to live, so of course he must make plans in advance. Ye Wengxiao nodded. Fellow Taoist Su, there is a clear way down here, so that you don't have to escape. But let me join the Xianjing division. Exactly. As long as he joins the Xianjing division, Su Dai will have a backing. Even if Master Shenying wants to take action against you, he needs to think twice before doing so. If he dares to bully the small, he will naturally be supported by the 3 Xianjing divisions. Make the adults look upon you. The 3 governors of the Xianjing division are the foundation for the Xianjing division to dominate the world. In particular, Ye Gaiyun, the official governor, is rumored to have entered the realm of Yuan Shen. Thank you Daiyu for your kindness, but I am free and undisciplined by nature, and I really can't stand the constraints of the Xianjing division. Especially like this time to annihilate Daheng Mountain. If I were in the Xianjing division, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to do this. Ye Wengxiao sighed. Although I expected that fellow Taoists would refuse, now that I have actually heard it, I still can't help but feel disappointed. Haha, you don't have to be like this, fellow Taoist yet. Although Su has not joined the Xianjing division, you and I can still cooperate. Oh? I'd like to hear the details. If fellow Taoist yet encounters any monsters that are difficult to solve, I am willing to provide help. In addition, Su is also somewhat proficient in weapon refining. If someone in the Xianjing department wants to refine magic weapons, Su can also help. Before he finished speaking, Ye Wengxiao's pupils shrank instantly and he said in disbelief. Fellow Taoist can refine magic weapons. Su Junming can understand his emotions. Although Taoist monks have some skills in refining alchemy and sacrificial vessels, most of them have only dabbled in it. After all, just comprehending the basic Tao method is extremely time-consuming, let alone practicing other Tao methods at the same time. Moreover, whether it is alchemy or weapon refining, it is a method that requires a lot of resources to accumulate experience in order to improve step by step. Unless a big sect is involved, who would be willing to invest so much? Even the big sects can only train a few. Whether they can reach the level of cultivating magic weapons depends on their personal understanding. Therefore, in the entire Daong, there are thousands of large and small sects, but the masters of weapon refining who can truly sacrifice and refine magic weapons for people can be counted on the palm of a hand. Since you dare to say it again, you can naturally do it. How is this possible? After the quick-talking Ye Wengxiao reacted, he waved his hand quickly. It's not that I don't believe in the character of fellow Taoist. It's just that fellow Taoist has practiced so many Taoist methods, how can he still master the art of weapon refining? Promoted to such a state. Su Junming smiled when he heard this. I think Taoist friends have misunderstood. The reason why I used the puppet Taoist method and the Aoki Taoist method is not because I have understood these avenues, but because I have a few magic weapons in my hand. Su Junming raised his hand, and a grain of yellow rice flew out of his sleeve. Feeling the fluctuations of the soul and space aura above, Ye Wengxiao had a hint of surprise on his face. I see. No wonder fellow Taoists can perform different methods. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 330. Chapter 324, Black Mountain Old Demon. Magical weapons are precious, and many casual cultivators in the nascent soul realm use spiritual weapons. Only a few possess magic weapons. Moreover, this magic weapon may be a natal magic weapon. Those who can possess 2 magic weapons and use different methods to fight against the enemy are basically monks like the Sirius King who have the support of a big force behind them. Therefore, IP Man and Xiao Cai preconceived the idea that Su Junming had understood different avenues, but he did not expect that he had multiple magic weapons. I wonder what my friend's conditions are? If it's suitable, I would like to ask my Taoist friend to practice a magic weapon on my behalf. Ye Wengxiao said quickly. With such benefits, of course you should enjoy them first. The memory of the Sirius King is a good thing. As a top monk in the 4 transformations of the nascent soul, he knows most of the rules of the game in the world of cultivation. The rule in the practice world for refining magic weapons is that the refiner takes away 50% of the materials. If the materials are insufficient, other spiritual objects must be used to make up for it. However, fellow Taoist Ye told me about Prince Yinlang, which was of great help to Su. I will take 10% less, and only need 40%. The matter with Prince Silver Wolf was just a gimmick. The real reason was that he hoped that Ye Wengxiao could help introduce a few more customers, so that he could take the opportunity to collect spiritual materials and practice the Tiangong Divine Furnace. Of course, there is no rush to talk about it now. It will not be too late to mention it after the magic weapon is trained. Thank you in advance, Ye. After cupping his fists and saluting, IP Man Xiao patted the bag on his waist. An iron block the size of an adult's fist appeared in the palm of his hand, and it was wrapped with thick Zhengjin spiritual energy. This is a piece of fine iron that has been refined for 4,000 times. 4 cents are used as the cost for Su Daiyu to refine the magic weapon, and the remaining part is used to refine a heart-piercing nail. Su Junming took it, observed it for a moment and nodded. Ken. I wonder how long it will take you to refine it. 1 month is enough. January. Is it too short? Ye Wengxiao asked in surprise. Don't worry, fellow Taoist Ye, If it breaks down during the refining process, I will compensate you another one piece of 4,000 refined iron. Fellow Taoist, you have misunderstood. As far as I know, the weapon refining masters in Daong spend at least half a year to practice magic weapons. Su Junming smiled lightly, with a strong confidence on his face. The reason why I spend less time is because my level of weapon refining is higher than theirs. He was not talking nonsense. Thanks to the bronze mirror's powerful blessing on understanding, Su Junming's weapon refining skills had reached the level where he could refine spiritual treasures. But without spiritual materials, he is also a clever woman who cannot make a meal without rice. When Ye Wengxiao heard what he said, although he was suspicious, considering that he had something to ask for, he wisely did not question it. Then I'll leave everything to you, fellow Taoist. Don't worry. After talking about the weapon refining and drinking a cup of tea, Su Junming changed his mind. As the commander of the Shijiang provincial station of the Xianjing division, fellow Taoist Ye, have you ever heard of the Black Heart Demon cult? Ye Wengxiao's expression changed slightly. Fellow Taoist also knows about the Black Heart Demon cult. On the way to Shijiang City, when passing through Guiyang County, I killed several demon disciples of the Black Heart Demon section. They also had a master named Taoist Haisha. This man was extremely cunning and escaped early. He was not caught by me. Kill them. To be honest with my fellow Taoists, the Black Heart Demon cult is the biggest scourge in our spiritual practice community in the 7 provinces south of Daong Jiangnan. They act secretly and have vicious methods, specializing in collecting ghosts and souls. From their appearance 300 years ago to now, they have killed more than tens of millions of ordinary people, and no less than tens of thousands of cultivators. Countless inspectors of the Xianjing division have died in their hands. The greatest wish of the Xianjing division of the 7 Jiangnan provinces is to eliminate the Black Heart Demon cult. But it's a pity that we have never been able to find the base of the Black Heart Demon sect, so every time we suppress them, these monsters will appear like weeds after a while. It's really hateful. IP Man Xiao gritted his teeth, showing his hatred for the Black Heart Demon cult. Can't we eradicate it even with the tyranny of the 3 governors of Xianjing division? Su Junming said. Ye Wengxiao shook his head. The 3 governors said that the Black Heart Demon sect's home base is not in this world, but in the gap between the underworld and the human world. They can't find the entrance. Therefore, they can only let it go. The gap between the underworld and the human world. Su Junming pondered for a moment. Does the leader of the Black Heart Demon sect, Xianjingsi, know? Certainly. Ye Wengxiao looked serious. The name of the leader of the Black Heart Demon cult. Old demon from Montenegro. Old Black Mountain demon. Su Junming's body suddenly changed. What? Fellow Taoist Su has also heard of this monster's name. Su Junming nodded. Not only had I heard it before, it was too familiar. One of his favorite movies in his previous life, the ultimate boss in the first part of a Chinese ghost story, was the old monster from Montenegro. Could this world be the world of a Chinese ghost story? No, it could also be a Chinese fairy tale. The story of a Chinese ghost story itself is adapted from Liuzai. So Su Junming is not 100% sure. But no matter what, it is a good thing for him to know more about the truth of this world. Seeing his expression constantly changing, Ye Wengxiao couldn't help but feel curious. Where did fellow Taoist Su know this name? It's a secret in my heart. I can't tell you. I hope fellow Taoist friends can forgive me. Everyone has secrets in their heart that they don't want others to touch, and it's the same with IP Man Xiao. So he wisely didn't ask again. In this case, Ye will not ask. However, the Black Heart Demon cult is also the enemy of our Xianjing department. If you encounter someone from the Black Heart Demon cult again in the future, please inform our Xianjing division. Ye is willing to bring the Xianjing division, sir. Please lend a helping hand to fellow Taoists. Thank you very much. If Xianjing Division encounters the Black Heart Demon sect, I will be willing to help you. You can earn merit by killing evil sect figures. After talking to this point and having almost finished drinking the tea, Ye Wengxiao stood up. It is truly a blessing to meet fellow Taoist Ye Wengxiao today. The same goes for Su Junming. 1 month later, when the magic weapon is finished, Ye will come to bother me again. When the time comes, fellow Taoist Ye should bring some celebratory wine. Haha, don't worry, fellow Taoist Su, I will never forget it. After saying a few words, Su Junming sent Ye Wengxiao out of the hospital. After watching him go away, he turned around and closed the door. Ye Wengxiao, who reached the entrance of the alley, turned around and looked at the extremely ordinary courtyard. His eyes flickered, and he suppressed the urge in his heart to let people monitor Su Junming's whereabouts. Forget it, it's just a piece of 4,000 refined iron. Even if he escapes with the treasure, it won't hurt my bones. If he can really make a magic weapon, then I will wholeheartedly make friends with him. The friendship of a master of weapon refining is too valuable. Although the price of using 4,000 refined iron to test is a bit high, if it is true as he said, it will be worth it. The fire was raging, and in the scorching flames, a long triangular spike flashed with spiritual light. Su Junming changed his spiritual techniques one after another, and countless eclipses were buried in the spikes. I don't know how much time has passed. He raised his eyebrows. It's done. There was a buzz sound, and the long nail shined brightly. As Su Junming waved his hand, the flames disappeared. A flash of water flashed by, and the aura of the spike instantly grew stronger. With a flash of inspiration, Su Junming flew straight up and reached the Daihuang mountain mid-air in the blink of an eye. Feeling the aura on the spike, thunder surged instantly, and the calamity fell down. 1, 2, 9 tribulation thunders in a row. Fortunately, the refined iron produced by 4,000 refines belongs to the middle grade of the big cave, and the material is of good quality. Coupled with Su Junming's meticulous sacrificial training, it is not difficult to survive the catastrophe. He reached out and made a move, and the long nails with bright rays of light slowly fell down. With a burst of magic power, 4 treasure taboos emerged. In fact, according to the material of 4,000 refined iron and Su Junming's own skill in refining, it is completely possible to refine the 6 paths of treasure taboo. However, if this is the case, the chance of refining failure will also increase. Considering that this was not his magic weapon after all, Su Junming restrained himself. Rather than maximizing the potential of the materials, it would be more appropriate to achieve steady success through training. Leave it to Ip Man and Xiao himself to name it. After putting away the spike, an iron block the size of an apple appeared in the palm of his hand. This is the remaining 4,000 refined iron. After thinking about it, a sword box with 4 colors of glowing light emerged from the dantian. Su Junming tossed it casually and swallowed the fine iron in the sword box. Soon, the sound of swords was heard. After a while, the sound of the sword stopped. The aura of the sword box swelled. After putting away the 4 elephants' sword array with satisfaction, Su Junming was about to go to Suanweo Peak to see the spiritual roots he cultivated. Before he could go out, he saw Xiao Shaoxin running in furiously. "Master, come quickly." After that, he came up and took Su Junming's left hand and led him out of Daihuang Mountain. They arrived at their residence in Shijiang City. In the originally clean and tidy room, there were now about 20 beggars, about 7 or 8 years old, with ragged clothes and disheveled faces, sitting or lying down. What is even more irritating is that most of these beggars are disabled, or missing eyes, legs, or arms. And with his eyesight, he quickly saw that the disabilities on these beggars were not natural, but man-made. "How is this going?" "Master, I went to the market in the morning and saw them begging. I gave them some money. Unexpectedly, when I came back, I saw some gangsters robbing them of the money they had worked so hard to get. I beat them away. Asshole. But several of the beggars I rescued told me that they were trafficked and then disabled by others, taking advantage of their sympathy and defrauding people of their money. At this point, a trace of murderous aura rose between his eyebrows. I couldn't get angry anymore, so I asked them to take me to the lair of that gang of bastards, kill those bastards, and rescue all the beggars. Master, they are disabled and have nowhere to go, why don't we take them in? Seeing the earnest but wary eyes of these beggars, Su Junming sighed. He had heard of this kind of thing before, but he didn't expect it to happen to him in this world now. With a wave of his hand, a magical force pinched all the beggars. You come too. The master and apprentice came to Chongshan residence. Su Junming stretched out his hand. A ball of milky white water flew through the air from the backyard. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 331. Holding the water ball in his palm, Su Junming picked up a drop with his right hand and flicked it lightly. Milky white water droplets floated into the eyes of an unkempt girl, about 7 or 8 years old. It's so itchy. Just as he was about to reach out to scratch, he was restrained by Su Junming's magic power. It only lasts for an hour or 3. The 2 originally damaged eyeballs slowly grew back, and the black and white eyes were filled with endless surprises of seeing the light again. I saw it, woohoo. I was so excited that I couldn't help crying. Nayuniu, don't cry, it's a good thing to see. Qiao Shaoxin quickly went over to comfort him. Su Junming, who had removed his magic power, swung his right hand. Water droplets flew down. But I saw that the broken limbs of all the beggars who absorbed the water droplets slowly grew back. The water of Zhuge Spring contains the power of creation and can heal acquired injuries. In the living room of Chongshan residence, all the beggars burst into tears of joy when they saw that their severed limbs had regenerated. After finally stopping, he knelt down in front of Su Junming under the leadership of the oldest male beggar. Thank you, immortal master, for your great kindness. Su Junming nodded slightly, waved his hand and let out a spiritual light. All the filth on the beggars' bodies was gone, and their tattered clothes seemed to have come to life. They stretched automatically and soon filled up the holes. They became brand new under the nourishment of spiritual energy. In an instant, the beggars were no different from ordinary children except for their thin bodies and disheveled faces. While they were looking at their own changes in surprise, Su Junming pondered for a moment, regained his magic power, and took the beggars to the outskirts of Daihuang Mountain, to a flat ground next to Zisha Peak. Something moved in my heart. The ground in front of me trembled, and soon 12 stone houses rose up. A blue stone square the size of a basketball court divides the 12 stone houses into 2 parts. 2 people share a room. The girl lives on the right and the boy lives on the left. You can live here for the time being. Thank you, immortal master, for taking me in. Su Junming nodded. Xiner, you brought these people here, so you are responsible for their daily life, reading, and literacy. Remember, don't neglect them. Responsibility allows people to grow. He wanted to use this to train his 3rd disciple. Yes, master. Qiao Shaoxin nodded solemnly. Judging from her expression, she seemed to have grown a lot in an instant. After looking around at the beggars, Su Junming flew away through the air. After receiving his instructions, Qiao Shaoxin really took responsibility and led the children to read, and understand morality every day. They also reclaimed the surrounding land and led them to support themselves. Later, in order to strengthen their physique, Su Junming was placed in the elixir room, and the unused Huanja elixir was dissolved in water for them to drink. And after getting Su Junming's permission, he passed on the 4 elephants' palm. When the children's lives were on track and Su Junming thought his apprentice would settle down, his precious apprentice brought him a little trouble. I don't know if it's because of my overwhelming sense of responsibility, my innate kindness, or the brilliance of motherhood. Qiao Shaoxin brought all the beggars in Shijiang City here. Shijiang City has a population of 1 million, but there are no less than 1,000 homeless children who have no one to adopt. Seeing that his precious apprentice was so busy every day that he had delayed his cultivation, Su Junming, the master, had no choice but to step forward. Qiao Shaoxin was forced to set a daily practice time, and then asked his puppet body Vivian to take care of these beggars. However, this kind act has greatly increased the merits of Su Junming and Qiao Shaoxin. This was one of the reasons why he didn't object to it. Master, can't Hanba's illness be cured? Looking at the silly children in front of him, Su Junming sighed. He was born with an incomplete soul, which is why he is stupid. This kind of natural disease is extremely difficult to cure. The silly boy is so pitiful. He has no father or mother, and he is confused every day, Qiao Shaoxin said. Silly disciple, there are pitiful people everywhere in this world. Let alone you, even if Master and I are included, we are destined to be unable to save everyone. Just do your best and obey fate. As for him, he will open another courtyard for his master in Zhoniu Mountain, and take care of these people who are born stupid, so that they can live their whole lives here without illness or pain. Qiao Shaoxin nodded, and after a moment, Yu asked unwillingly. Master, is there really nothing we can do? Just as he was about to deny it, when the words came to his lips, he looked at Qiao Shao's earnest eyes, and his heart moved. Unless you can become an immortal one day, it will be difficult to change. Become an immortal. Su Junming nodded and spoke with yearning. Our Taoist practice builds the foundation, the innate, the golden elixir, the Yuanying, and the Yuan Shen. Finally, after passing through the 4 or 9 great tribulations, we can achieve the status of heavenly immortal, obtain great magic power, and have boundless supernatural powers. Master, I want to become an immortal. The little face was full of determination. Haha, then you have to practice hard. Qiao Shaoxin nodded vigorously. Master, I won't tell you any more. I want to send Hanwei back and then go into seclusion to practice. Looking at Qiao Shaoxin running away, Su Junming couldn't help but shook his head. This girl has become impatient. Dong dong dong. There was a knock on the door. The 1-month period was approaching, and Su Junming, who had deliberately stayed outside, got up and opened the courtyard door. Sure enough, it was IP Man Xiao. Fellow Taoist, yeah, you are well. Haha, except for being a little anxious, everything is fine. After a pause, seeing that fellow Taoist Su's face is glowing, I guess he has already achieved what you asked for. Let's talk after you come in. Ye Wengxiao walked into the courtyard with some eagerness. The two sat down on the stone bench under the pomegranate tree where they had tea last time. Everything was as usual, a pot of tea was brewed, and the conversation became more interesting. Fellow Taoist Su, can you take out the things? Ye is a little impatient. With the magic weapon in front of him, few practitioners can resist the temptation. Su Junming smiled faintly, spread out his left palm, and a black iron spike with a bright glow emerged. Xiaoguang flew to Ye Wengxiao with the spike in his hand. Please taste it, fellow Taoist Ye. Ye Wengxiao, whose eyes had been burning for a long time, quickly reached out and took it. After a simple ritual, with a burst of magic power, 4 halos of light emerged from the black iron spikes. 4 forbidden treasures. A middle-grade magic weapon. Ye Wengxiao's face was filled with surprise. He originally thought that it would be great if Su Junming could refine a low-grade magic weapon with 2 or 3 spiritual taboos, but he didn't expect it to be a mid-grade magic weapon. Subconsciously, he wanted to test his power, but was stopped by Su Junming. Fellow Taoist Ye, this heart-piercing nail is extremely powerful. Please don't use it here. Otherwise, my yard will not be able to withstand your nail. Ye Wengxiao nodded. What fellow Taoist said is true, it's me, Meng Lang. After putting away the spikes, Ye Wen and Xiao Su Rong bowed. Thank you fellow Taoist for refining the treasure for me. Thank you very much Ye Wengxiao. You're welcome, fellow Taoist Ye. If you have a close friend who refines magic weapons in the future, you can bring them to me. Ye Wengxiao nodded and said, with Su Dao's weapon refining skills, the spiritual world is blessed. After a pause. Fellow Daoist Su, there is something you don't know whether to ask or not. Fellow Daoist Ye, feel free to say anything you want. In that case, I will speak out. Recently, people from the Xianjing division discovered that many beggars disappeared without a trace after entering Brother Su's place. I wonder if Brother Su can explain something. Haha, so that's what happened. Speaking of which, it was all the disciples who caused the trouble. Appreciate further details. After Su Junming nodded. My apprentice is kind-hearted. Once when he went out to play, he met a group of people on the street who mutilated children. They used their disabled bodies to gain sympathy, beg for silver, and use the opportunity to make money. She was so angry that she killed the group of beggars and rescued the children. Because these beggars were all street children who had forgotten their hometown long ago and had nowhere to go, so I raised them in a certain place in Su in the cave sky. The plan is to raise them into adults with skills in the future, and then let them go, which can be regarded as a meritorious deed of my master and apprentice. Who would have thought that my apprentice would be so kind-hearted that he would bring all the beggars in the city here? Although I didn't want to be troublesome, I couldn't bear to refuse her kind deed, so I just let it go. This made fellow Daoist Ye misunderstand. That's it? Su Dao is still a good disciple. At a young age, he has a kind heart and a compassionate heart. This is really a blessing for the righteous path. After complimenting him, IP Man Xiao changed the subject. I didn't expect fellow Daoist Su to have a cave world. It's just a coincidence. If fellow Daoist Ye is worried, I can take you to have a look. Ye Wengxiao hesitated in his heart. Entering someone else's cave world is no small matter. If the other party has any bad intentions and suppresses them with the cave world, he will instantly become the other party's meal. Although Su Junming used to show hatred for evil and was filled with moral energy, who knows if he is really like this? However, considering the other party's superb level of weapon refining, it is necessary to deepen our understanding and enhance our relationship. Moreover, if everything is as the other party said, then he has performed his duties conscientiously and has a kind heart, and will undoubtedly win the favor of the other party. If it's convenient, Ye would be interested in taking a look. Fellow Daoist Ye, don't resist. After Ye Wengxiao nodded, he saw a nine-color divine light pinching him. The world was spinning in an instant, and when everything in front of him became clear, the world had changed. In front of us, the sky is high and far away, with the sun hanging high in the blue sky. A mountain thousands of feet high, connected to the sky and the earth, like a pillar in the sky. The key is that there is not just one giant mountain like this, but more than 20 in a row. What a rich spiritual energy! What a vast cave! Ye Wenxiao was shocked. He originally thought that Su Junming's cave world would be 100 miles in size. But now what he can see is only a mountain away. And in the distance, there is a wider land. I'm afraid there's something huge here. It's not like he has never been to the cave world. The Xianjing division's Xianjing cave is bigger than this one. But that is the result of thousands of years of accumulation in the entire Xianjing division. Unlike this cave, it only belongs to Su Junming. As for the spiritual energy, it was even stronger than the Xianjing cave he had been to. Such an opportunity is truly enviable. He thought that Su Junming inherited the legacy of his predecessors by chance, but he never thought that the entire cave was built bit by the other party. This has exceeded his imagination. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 332. Fellow Taoist, yeah, please take a look. Look in the direction of Su Junming's finger. A vast building appeared in the distance. These buildings are all made of hard bluestone. All the bluestones are integrated into one body without any gaps. They are as if they were made by nature, showing extremely high attainments in earth-based Taoism. Each bluestone building is a stone house with a length of 100 meters, a height of 6 meters, and 2 floors, with no sense of aesthetics. Each stone house is divided into different rooms. There are about 49 such stone houses spread horizontally and vertically on a plane. Of course, not all stone houses have many rooms. There are 8 stone houses in the middle that are obviously different. They are not only 5 stories high, but also have different functions. One contained a spinning wheel. There are tables and chairs in one, and the sound of lang lang reading can be vaguely heard. Far to the left of this stone house, a large number of fields have been opened up, where grains, vegetables and the like are grown. At this time, there was a tall, barefooted man leading nearly 108 or 9-year-old boys to work in the fields. Fellow Taoist Su, are these all your handiwork? Su Junming nodded. It is better to teach people to fish than to teach them to fish. Since we have adopted them, we must train them to be useful people. Reading and literacy are only the basics. They must also be taught different skills such as planting grains, raising livestock, blacksmithing, practicing medicine, and practicing martial arts life skills. In the future, when they leave here and go outside, they will have a way to survive. This move by fellow Taoist Su is really a great merit, Ye Wengxiao exclaimed. Su Junming smiled lightly. Although he was reborn once and experienced 3 worlds. But the Jich idea is still inherited from China in the 21st century. In that world, the concept that all living beings are equal and everyone has useful talents is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. Reading and literacy are even more commonplace. Now he has copied it and made some changes. It is still 100 times more advanced than Daong world. Fellow Taoist, this is a wonderful compliment. I just hope that my heart will be clear. It's easy to say that you have a clear conscience, but there are very few people who are consistent in their words and deeds like fellow Taoists. After saying that, he saw a middle-aged man wearing a black robe walking out of the house in the middle. Behind him, more than 100 students lined up neatly. Then I saw him bringing these students, who were about 11 or 12 years old, all dressed in the same clothes, to the bluestone square next to the stone house. With an order, all the students dispersed. Under the leadership of this person, they started practicing their fists and kicks in an orderly manner. Fists and kicks were nothing unusual in Ye Wengxiao's eyes. But the man who took the students to boxing surprised him greatly. Is that Sun Yuanying, the true Lord Xuanyan of Ziohan Mountain? Do you know him too, fellow Taoist yet? 3 years ago, I joined forces with the commander of the Shanyang province of the Xianjing division to remove this cancer from the Jiangnan cultivation world. I never thought that the serious king would interfere and let him escape. After a pause, Ye Wengxiao turned his head. It seems that fellow Taoist has turned him into a puppet. This person has deep karma and many sins, so he is naturally the target of my death. Ye Wengxiao nodded. Fellow Taoist Su has eliminated another great harm to the spiritual world. Su Junming smiled slightly and said nothing more. Looking at the young men and women practicing hard in the square. Fellow Taoist, there should be many talented practitioners among these children, right? There are quite a few. Fellow Taoist, do you want them? The more young and talented people we have in the Xianjing division, the better. However, a gentleman does not take away people's love, and the talents cultivated by fellow Taoists cannot be shamelessly acquired by Ye just by opening his mouth. I just hope that in the future, fellow Taoist disciples will go out to experience at that time, you can join our hanging mirror department. Su Junming's eyes flashed, and there was a hint of thinking in his eyes. Before, he simply wanted to raise these children into adults without wasting their talents. I have no intention of taking them under my wing. Now, after being reminded by IP Man and Xiao Yi, he has finally woken up. If there are really talented and good-hearted Taoist seeds among these children, they can definitely take them into their own sect and pass on their own Taoism. After all, starting a sect is quite a sense of accomplishment when you think about it. If the people in the Xianjing division are like Taoist, then it won't be a problem. Don't worry, fellow Taoist, although there are some selfish people in the Xianjing division, most of them are righteous people who have the world at heart. Su Junming nodded. With a wave of his hand, he took Ye Wengxiao back to the small courtyard in Shijiang City. There are too many secrets on Taishi Peak and Sixiang Peak, and Su Junming has no intention of letting outsiders know. The familiar scene returned to his eyes, and Ye Wengxiao looked at the opposite side with a more solemn look. Before, he was worried that Su Junming would fall into the hands of Master Shenying, but now the opponent actually has such a huge cave world. Even if he can't defeat him, there is still no problem in escaping. No wonder the Master Condor was mentioned last time. There was no panic in his eyes. It turns out he has this powerful trump card. Unknowingly, Su Junming's status became a lot heavier in his heart. Fellow Taoist Su, do I have something to ask of you? Oh, what's the matter? Do you understand Xiaozhang Dragon King Aou? I can't say I understand it, I just know a little bit. It is said that this old dragon has lived for 1,800 years and advanced to the 12 transformations of the nascent soul for 300 years, but it has never gone through the Yuanshen heavenly tribulation. The lifespan of monsters is much longer than that of humans. Ordinary human Yuanying monks can live up to 1,000 years. But the monsters can live for 2,000 years, and even long-lived monsters like turtles and whales can live longer. The monster race is born with a strong body, so the natural disaster is much heavier than the human race. In addition to the thunder disaster, they also need to go through the fire disaster. There are many dangers, and there is no 1 in 10. So, Au, the Dragon King of Shijiang, has never been able to survive the catastrophe. Now it will die in another 200 years, and it wants to fight to the death before it approaches Taoism. Su Junming shook his head with disdain on his face. I only tried to work hard before I died, but my heart has long since lost its energy. It is strange that I can survive the catastrophe. What fellow Taoist said is true. Aou was not sure, so he passed the Dragon King of Xiaozhang to his third son Aolin long before the tribulation. It is said that the snake dragon has the cultivation level of the 7th transformation of the nascent soul. Su Junming nodded and said. That's right. Prince Xiaozhanglong has many heirs, but there are only 3 snake dragons who have truly advanced to the nascent soul. The eldest son Aoshiu, the third son Aolin, and the 7th son Aoshen. Aoshen has advanced to the nascent soul realm only 10 years ago. Now he only has the cultivation level of the 2nd nascent soul transformation, so he is naturally not eligible for the throne. But the eldest son Aoshiu is different. His cultivation level is even better than Aolin, reaching the 8th nascent soul transformation. But although Aoshiu has the highest level of cultivation, he was born to a crab spirit by the Dragon King Xiaozhang after he was drunk. He was born ugly and was not liked by the Dragon King. On the contrary, Aolin was handsome and looked most like Aou himself, so he passed the throne to him. However, this also became the source of turmoil in Xiaozhang. When the Dragon King of Xiaozhang was alive, he could still suppress it. Once the Dragon King of Xiaozhang passed through the tribulation, Aoshiu will not give up if he fails. If the two sides start a war, there will be waves in the Xia River. If it causes a flood, the people on both sides of the river will suffer. Therefore, I would like to ask fellow Taoists to join me in helping Aolin kill Aoshiu. Su Junming narrowed his eyes slightly. Why not just eradicate the entire Shijiang monster clan? Although there are many good people among the demon clan, after eradicating the demon clan in Daheng Mountain, he found that more than 80% of the demons had a strong sense of resentment and heavy karma in their bodies. Ye Wenxiao's eyes trembled, and he thought, what a murderous intention. Fellow Taoist, if eradicating the Xiaozhang monster clan can eliminate future troubles once and for all, then there is nothing wrong with your method. But as long as Xiaozhang is here, there will be a steady stream of demon clans emerging. The monsters in Xiaozhang are inexhaustible. In this case, it is better to keep the Shijiang Dragon clan and at least let these monsters have some restraint. Although it is a small harm, it will not be a major problem in the end. He glanced at Yamang Xiao. The two are in different positions and have different methods of solving problems. Su Junming, who is free and easy, always kills to stop killing when faced with evil spirits. As the commander of Shijiang Provincial Station of the Xianjing Division, Ye Wengxiao thinks more about balance. He will not easily avoid war unless it is absolutely necessary. Su Junming narrowed his eyes. Fellow Taoist, did your Xianjing Division ask me to help, or did the snake dragon in Shijiang ask me to help? Is there any difference? Ye Wengxiao frowned slightly. If your Xianjing Division asks me to take action, I will help you for the sake of fellow Taoist yet. If that snake dragon asks me to help, then I will not serve as its spearman for no reason. If Aolin asks fellow Taoist Su to take action, I wonder what conditions you want. Ye Wengxiao didn't want to owe such a big favor. Otherwise, if Su Junming confronts Master Shenying in the future and asks him to help from the Xianjing Division, he will be in big trouble. It is said that the Dragon Clan has many treasures. Although the Shijiang Dragon Clan only has a false name, it has dominated Shijiang for many years and will accumulate a lot in the future. So, I just need to ask Aolin to give me a piece of earthline spiritual gold the size of a bucket. Earth vein spiritual gold is the highest quality precious spiritual material in the Great Cave. It is a composite spiritual material with dual attributes of earth and gold, and is extremely precious. The size of a bucket? Fellow Taoist Su, is this request too high? It's not like Ye Wengxiao has never seen earth vein spirit gold before, but the largest one is no more than the size of a child's fist. Even so, the Taoist friend who possesses Lingjin loves him more than his life. If they hadn't known each other for many years, they wouldn't have shown it to him easily. The size of a bucket? Was it because I was too embarrassed to refuse directly, so I found a more tactful reason? Fellow Taoist, just go ahead and tell me. Except for the old dragon, Su Junming may know the family background of the Shijiang Dragon clan better than Aolin, the son of the dragon. At first, he was looking for Yuanying monks with karma to kill them in order to gain merit. The palace of the Dragon clan in Shijiang is located, and I have seen it 2 or 3 times with a bronze mirror. Naturally, he had a full view of the Dragon clan's treasure house, so he knew exactly what was in it. After a pause, Su Junming continued. Fellow Taoist, you might as well tell him that if he agrees, I will kill Aoshiu for him. Behead Aoshiu. Ye Wengxiao's pupils shrank, and his expression didn't seem to be fake. Does he really have such strength? Impossible, I am not wrong, the aura on his body is just golden elixir. Even if there are a few powerful magic weapons in his hand, it is impossible to kill Aoshiu in the 8th transformation of nascent soul. No, those puppet. Ye Wengxiao took a deep breath and said solemnly. I will convey Taoist friend's request to Aolin. As for whether he will agree to it, I can't guarantee it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it succeeds or not. In Xiaozhang, the old Jiao Au, whom he had a lot of worries about, was gone. What was left, whether it was Aoshiu or others, was just meat on the chopping board. After taking a deep look at Su Junming, Ye Wengxiao stood up. In that case, I'll take my leave first. I'll send fellow Taoist Ye off. Arriving outside the door, Ye Wengxiao stopped. Fellow Taoist Su, Killing is not the only way to solve the problem. The deeper the hatred accumulates, the more violent the backlash will be. Su Junming nodded. What fellow Taoist Ye said is true, but tolerating and supporting traitors is a recipe for disaster. It should be noted that demons are just like beasts. Although they have spiritual intelligence, they do not know etiquette and education. They have always been afraid of power but not virtuous. Only by beating them till they are scared to the core can these guys learn to behave themselves. There was a hint of disappointment in Ye Wengxiao's eyes. He knew that he could not convince the other party after all. If fellow Taoist thinks so, then what's the point of me going to Aolin? Because the karma on it is not heavy. Although I like to kill to stop killing, I do not kill indiscriminately. Understood. After Ye Wengxiao nodded, he cupped his hands. Farewell. Watching his back go away, Su Junming closed the door. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 333. Chapter 227 Xiaozhang Dragon Clan. Grown-ups. As soon as he walked out of the alley, Luz Haifei came up to him. Why are you here? Aolin, the third prince of the Shijiang Shui tribe, is visiting. What a coincidence. Where is he? Xiang Pavilion. Ye Wengxiao nodded, flashed, and disappeared instantly. Luz Haifei looked back at the ordinary back alley, followed him with his escaping light. Xiang Pavilion is the best room in the Xianjing Si Yamen in Shijiang province, and will only be used to entertain the most distinguished guests. Brother Ao, I've been waiting for a long time. Hearing the voice, the young man dressed in plain white, holding a folding fan, looking fair and extremely handsome, like a young man from a troubled world, withdrew his gaze from the window. Overlooking Shijiang city from here, it's so picturesque that you can't help but be immersed in it. You almost forget the passage of time. After a pause, Aolin looked at Ye Wengxiao. Here you are, brother Ye. He smells like tea. Where are you meeting guests? Haha, sit down and talk. After asking Aolin to sit down behind the table next to him. Brother Ao, does he know Master Chongshan Su Junming? Is he the one who killed the Sirius King? Exactly. Brother Ye still knows him. He is in Shijiang city, and I have only seen him twice. Aolin nodded clearly. Brother Ye mentioned him specifically because he wanted to ask for his help when something big comes, right? Brother Ao is really smart, that's right. But this person's conditions are a bit high. Oh. Now that you say it, I'm interested. Brother Ye, please speak up. After a moment of hesitation, Ye Wengxiao said slowly. A measure of earth vein spiritual gold. Aolin's expression suddenly changed. Brother Ao, I also think his request is a bit excessive. However, this person is very powerful, especially since several of the puppets in his hands are at the nascent soul realm. They should not be underestimated. If we can get this person to Brother Ao's side, it will be a huge help for Brother Ao to successfully ascend to the throne. Aolin took a deep breath. Ye Wengxiao didn't know that what really changed his expression was not Su Junming's lion opening his mouth, but the fact that there happened to be a piece of earth vein spiritual gold in the Shijiang Dragon clan's treasure house. And no more, no less, only the size of a bucket. Is it just a coincidence? I shook my head secretly. How could there be so many coincidences in the world? Brother Ye, can you let me meet this master of Chongshan? This, I'm afraid I have to ask before I can give Brother Ao an answer. Of course. After a moment of silence, Ye Wenxiao said. Brother Ao, you and I have known each other for many years, and I don't hide some things from you. Although Su Junming's request is a bit excessive, you still agree to it? Oh, why? Brother Ao, please take a look. Ye Wengxiao opened his palm, and a long black iron spike emerged from his palm with a bright glow. Is this a new magic weapon obtained by Taoist brother? Yes. This is a medium-grade magic weapon with 4 forbidden treasures. I just brought it back from Su Junming. What? Brother Ao suddenly stood up with a look of shock on his face. Brother Taoist, are you kidding me? How can a casual cultivator with perfect golden elixir be a master of weapon refining? In the world of cultivation, there are very few masters who can refine magic weapons. There are only a few more than Yuanchen level monks. Therefore, his status in the spiritual world is extremely respected. Although Aolin is the third prince of the Shijiang Shui tribe and the future Dragon King. But I have never seen a master of weapon refining. Aolin's reaction was as expected by Ye Wengxiao. It was the same with him at first. Brother Ao, please be patient. I didn't believe it at first, but Su Junming did spend a month using the piece of 4,000 refined iron I gave him to make the heart-piercing nail in front of him. A month. Good. The time is so short, could there be fraud in it? Aolin blurted out. Ye Wenxiao smiled. I took out a piece of 4,000 refined iron and got a genuine, middle-grade magic weapon with 4 treasure taboos. If there is really a fraud in it, then I would rather let him cheat a few more times. After hearing this, Aolin also woke up. The magic weapon is so precious that no one would be willing to use it to set any trap. So, this Chongshan master Su Junming is really a master of weapon refining. Exactly. So, although his request is a bit excessive, if there is really a bucket of earth vein gold in the Dragon Palace, Brother Ao might as well give it to him. IP Man Xiao emphasized his tone, the friendship of a master refiner is priceless. Aolin nodded slowly. After hearing this, most of his resistance to Su Junming's lion's open mouth disappeared. But what he wanted to figure out now was how the other party knew that there was a bucket of earth vein spiritual gold in the Dragon Palace. Could it be that the eldest brother has already contacted this person in advance and promised the price of a doe of earthly gold? The more Aolin thought about it, the more possible it became. After all, Ao Xiu is not like him. He is the appointed Dragon King, but Ao Xiu is not. No matter how precious the things in the Dragon Palace's treasure house are, if they don't have the title of Dragon King, they have nothing to do with Ao Xiu. It's better to use it as a bargaining chip first. Thinking of Ao Xiu's character, Aolin became more and more sure of his guess. Brother Ye, please inform Su Junming and say that I agree to his request. Aolin's change was expected by Ye Wengxiao. Everyone covets the friendship of a master of weapon refining. After all, magic weapons are a rare thing in the spiritual world. With one more magic weapon, you can have more means to protect yourself and improve your own strength. In addition, I would like to ask Brother Ye for help. I would like to visit him as soon as possible. Okay, I'll take care of this. Thank you so much, Brother Ye. Haha, you and I have known each other for many years, why are you talking about this? At the same time, hundreds of meters deep under a large bend in the Shijiang River, there was this gorgeous underwater palace. All kinds of lights flicker in it, and the wonders in the water that are usually difficult to see are all here. Looking from a distance, it really looks like the legendary Crystal Palace, magnificent. At the same time, shrimp soldiers and crabs with bright armor will guard it, showing a formidable atmosphere. Suddenly, the river surged, and a huge red strange dragon flew out from the depths of the Dragon Palace and disappeared into the distance in an instant. In the deepest part of the Dragon Palace, a dragon with a length of more than 300 feet, a blue body, 4 claws as big as mountains, and a single horn on top opened its eyes. The dark yellow light flashed away. Ao Xiu, don't make a mistake. The old voice echoed in the vast underground palace. The red monster is extremely fast and can travel hundreds of miles in an instant. The strange dragon suddenly turned its head upward, and after breaking through the water, it flashed with light and transformed into a rough and ugly man wearing red armor, a golden crown on his head, a leopard head with eyes, a red face, and nostrils pointing upward. His eyes looked deep into the valley. "Come out." A ray of dim light came close to the ground and came 10 feet in front of the ugly man. The dim light was like a fountain, getting higher and higher, and gradually transformed into a man in black robe with an obscure aura and a face that was difficult to see clearly. "The eldest prince is fine." The old and hoarse voice conveyed a strangeness. "You sent me a message, but something happened." "GG, of course I'm asking about cooperation." "What do you think of it, the eldest prince?" "Didn't you say you would give me half a month to think about it?" Aoshiu frowned. Of course. But the eldest prince should know that your third brother is now a guest at Yewengziao, the commander of the Shijiang provincial branch of the Xianjing division. The two of them have known each other for many years, and together, you may not be an opponent. He Aolin has helpers, so why don't I, Aoshiu? Jaja, if the helpers the eldest prince is talking about are Ziohan Mountains true monarchs Wanyan Sun Yuanying and Beifeng Mountains Rax Hasafari Zujling, then the eldest prince will probably be disappointed. Why? Ao Ziyuyi frowned. They have all been killed by Chongshan Master Su Junming within 1 month. Chongshan Master Su Junming, Ao Shiu's pupils shrank. Is he the one who killed the Sirius king? That's right. The opponent has a powerful sword array in his hand. Once it's set up, the winner will have no chance. Ao Shiu's expression kept changing, and he soon started to curse angrily. Damn Su Junming, you actually ruined my good deeds. The eldest prince, it is rumored that this person has been in contact with the Xianjing division for a long time. If this is true, the prince's important affairs will be in vain. Ao Shiu's breathing became rapid. He would never allow his own position as Dragon King to be taken away by that weakling Ao Shiu. Seeing the change in his expression, a hint of hidden sarcasm flashed in the eyes of the man in black robe next to him. Eldest prince, no matter how you look at it, the wisest choice is to cooperate with our Black Heart Demon cult. If I cooperate with your Black Heart Demon sect and kill Yewengziao, then I will die in the same way as the behemoth Xianjing division is furious. He, don't worry, eldest prince. Apart from the 3 major governors of the Xianjing division, the other commanders are only as good as the prince. There is no need for the prince to worry. As for the 3 major governors, we, the Black Heart Demon sect, will naturally resist them. Ao Shiu's expression changed. Does the Black Heart Demon cult really just want my loyalty? Of course. If Master Haishan wants to establish a demon kingdom on Earth, he needs the help of countless heroes. The eldest prince's strategy and cultivation are both top-notch, but Master Haishan is optimistic about the best candidate to take the position of Dragon King of Longjiang in the future. Ao Shiu's eyes became hot. The Longjiang River is 30,000 miles long, far beyond the Shijiang River. If he can really become the Dragon King of Longjiang in the future, relying on the power of Longjiang's water veins, his soul can be expected. Seeing his expression, the man in black robe secretly sneered in his heart. He is indeed a reckless person. He was fooled into believing it with just a few words. The Black Heart Demon cult's real plan is to take advantage of the Shijiang demon clan's fight for position, consume the Xianjing division's power, and prepare for the establishment of a human demon kingdom in the future. Ao Shiu is just a chess piece that can be consumed at any time. Please reply to Master Haishan. Ao Shiu is very honored to be a member of the Black Mountain Demon cult. Ha ha ha, the eldest prince has finally made a wise decision. Don't worry, I will pass this matter to Master Haishan as soon as possible. After March, when the old Dragon King Shijiang overcomes the tribulation, he will help the prince win the title of Dragon King Shijiang. Bit. Then I'll leave everything to Brother Blackwind. The man in black robe waved his hand. From now on, everyone will serve under Lord Montenegro, so we should be of the same mind. Prince, no, the Dragon King does not need to be so polite. The word Dragon King directly tickled Aoshiu, and he burst out laughing proudly. Ha ha, that's right. From now on, everyone will be under the same roof. After complimenting each other, Aoshiu transformed into a dragon and disappeared into the Xia River. The man in black robe stood by the river. After a moment, a black shadow came to his side. There was a flash of light, and a dark-colored and sinister middle-aged man appeared. Haisha, have you found the whereabouts of Su Junming? There is no accurate news yet, but 3 days ago someone saw a man in green robes taking a little girl, rafting down the Xia River. That's him. An old voice sounded. Riding down the Shijiang River, we are heading to Shijiang City. Master is wise, my disciple will go to Shijiang City to look for him now. Wait a minute. After stopping him, is there any clue about the demon fox Hongyu? Not yet. Hurry up and find her. Lord Montenegro attaches great importance to this matter. Yes. The man in black robe waved his hand. Go ahead. After the middle-aged man bowed respectfully, he turned into a black shadow and disappeared into the distance. Chongshan Master Su Junming, this person is just a golden elixir, how can he be so powerful? The incomprehensible sound disappeared amid the roar of the Xia River. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 334. Chapter 228 Jiao Bede. Master, can I survive the tribulation? Seeing the questioning look in his little apprentice's eyes, Su Junming sighed in his heart. The other party's talent was beyond his expectation. In just 1 year, Jiao Shaoxin not only mastered basic Taoist knowledge such as drawing talismans, refining alchemy, and waiting for gods, but also understood the Tao of creation to the realm of blue talismans. Although the other party has advanced so quickly, it is also because his master has a deep understanding of the Tao of creation and can teach her in accordance with her aptitude and answer her confusion in the Tao. In terms of preaching and receiving vocations, Su Junming is definitely at the top. But Jiao Shaoxin's own qualifications and understanding were definitely the only ones he had ever seen in his life. But Su Junming was still hesitant to let her survive the Golden Core Thunder tribulation now. Because, Jiao Shaoxin didn't have the treasure of his life. The treasure of destiny, this is the only treasure that can help the monks under the catastrophe. Without it, the risk of disaster would increase by several %. However, Jiao Shaoxin's natal treasure did put Su Junming in a bit of trouble. In fact, the most suitable natal treasure for her disciple is the lotus surrounded by the innate creation energy on her left cheek, but the grade of this lotus is too high. It is not suitable for Jiao Shaoxin, whose current cultivation level is only innate perfection. When a child lifts a sledgehammer, he may be hit first. In addition, the white lotus in Su Junming's backyard contains the innate energy of creation, and is also suitable as Jiao Shaoxin's natal treasure. But it is a pity that none of the 4 lotuses have bloomed yet. Apart from these 2, he had no other suitable materials in his hand for practicing. And he doesn't like things that are too low grade. XINER, if you wait a few more days to overcome the tribulation, Master will refine a furnace of elixirs for you. During this period, with the help of the bronze mirror, he comprehended the Tai Shang Qi replenishing pill and gained a lot. Although it cannot be restored yet, the general principle is now clear. You can refine some elixirs that can quickly replenish mana for Xiantian perfection monks. With this guarantee, and with Jiao Shaoxin's cultivation on the path of creation, the hope of surviving the catastrophe is much greater. Well, I will listen to my master. He patted her little head and smiled. All right, don't do anything other than enlightenment these days. When Master refines the elixir, he will let you overcome the calamity. After settling the little apprentice, Su Junming came to the alchemy room. With the change of finger techniques and the stimulation of mana, the flames in the alchemy furnace expanded instantly, and the hot steam began to evaporate. According to the elixir recipe that I had learned a long time ago, I added medicinal materials blindly. Slowly, the faint medicinal fragrance gradually became stronger. Suddenly, my spiritual sense was touched. Su Junming opened his eyes. Someone is coming outside. After asking Vivian to come back and guard the alchemy furnace for her, Su Junming ducked out of Daihuang Mountain. When he arrived at the small courtyard where Xiaozhang Chen was staying, he waved his hand to remove the seal at the door and opened the courtyard door. Ye Wengxiao walked in. Haha, fellow Taoist Su, Ye is here to disturb me again. If fellow Taoist Ye can come, my small courtyard will be full of glory, Su Junming said with a smile. Fellow Taoist praises me too much. A few days ago, fellow Taoist said that if I have a friend who wants to practice magic weapons, he should introduce him to you. What a coincidence, I really have such a friend. As he spoke, he turned sideways and let out the handsome young man holding a folding fan behind him. Aolin has met fellow Taoist yet. It turned out to be the third prince in person. Su Junming looked calm and held his hand slightly. I had seen the third prince of the Shijiang Shui tribe in a bronze mirror a long time ago. He didn't have much karma on his body, and he didn't have the air of injustice. Otherwise, he would not have promised to help it maintain its position as the Dragon King of the Shijiang Water tribe. I have long heard from Brother Ye that fellow Taoist Su is a promising person in the righteous way. Today I saw that fellow Taoist has deep magic power and full of Dao Qi. He is indeed worthy of his name. Aolin is really lucky to know fellow Taoist Su. Not to mention anything else, this third prince's eloquence is indeed worthy of a promising master, Su Junming thought to himself. As the saying goes, don't hit the smiling person with your hand. Su Junming turned sideways. The third prince has given you too much praise. Please come in. After a group of 3 people entered the hospital, Su Junming waved his sleeves and the dust accumulated on the stone tables and benches under the pomegranate tree disappeared instantly. At the same time, a tea set appeared out of thin air. You too, please. Thank you. After the 3 of them sat down, Aolin patted the storage bag, and a porcelain basin was suspended in the air with the support of mana. A small tree about 2 feet tall was planted in the 5-color spiritual soil in the porcelain pot. I heard that Mr. Su likes to drink tea, so I tasted the spiritual root from the big hole planted in the Dragon Palace. I broke a branch from the Fengzi Ling tea tree and gave it to Taoist fellow Su, hoping that fellow Taoist would accept it. Su Junming's eyes showed a hint of joy. What he likes most is collecting various spiritual roots and spiritual seeds. If a large-grade spiritual tea plant from the Great Cave is cultivated, the level of his tea garden will instantly increase. Thank you, Third Prince, for the generous gift. I like tea ceremony, and I especially like to cultivate various spiritual teas, so I accepted this Fengzi Cha plant shamelessly. Haha, fellow Taoist, it doesn't matter if you accept it. With a wave of his hand, the porcelain basin flew towards Su Junming. The latter caught it, glanced at it, and sent it to the White Tiger Peak of Daihuang Mountain to be cultivated by Ginseng Dal. Feeling the flash of cave heaven aura, Aolin's eyes flashed and he thought to himself. What Ye Wengxiao said is true. This man really has a cave world in his hands. Su Junming brewed tea, and the 3 of them drank a cup each. Brother Ye has conveyed the request that fellow Taoist Su made last time to me with a flip of his left palm. A wooden box with flashing light flew towards Su Junming. Inside is what fellow Taoist said is the earth's spiritual gold. It is exactly the size of a bucket. Please take a look, fellow Taoist. After Su Junming held it with his magic power, he looked at Aolin, who had a sincere expression on his face, and thought to himself, you gave it to me so happily. It seems that Ye Wengxiao revealed a lot of things about me to him. He glanced at Ye Wengxiao, who was sitting next to him with his head down and drinking tea, looking like it had nothing to do with him. Divine consciousness soaks into the wooden box. The earth vein spirit gold, which I had seen from afar with the help of a bronze mirror, was reflected in the sea of consciousness. The third prince is a generous man, and I admire him for it. I wonder when the old dragon king Shijiang will overcome his calamity. 3 months later, the second day of February. The dragon raises its head. It's a good day. Su will be there on time. I'll leave it to fellow Taoist Su then. Being entrusted by others is a matter of loyalty. Aolin took out another jade box from the magic bag. I heard from Brother Ye that fellow Taoist Su is a master of weapon refining. I happen to have a 1,000-year-old dragon bead here. I hope fellow Taoist can refine it into a water magic weapon. Su Junming took the jade box and opened it. A bead the size of a child's fist, completely blue, surrounded by water aura, with the sound of rolling water waves faintly audible, appeared in his eyes. With his eyesight, he instantly saw that this was at least the dragon bead of a peak nascent soul dragon. The dragon belongs to the dragon genus, and the dragon beads naturally have the characteristics of dragon beads, such as being extremely hard and strong, and at the same time containing the power of the 5 elements. This dragon bead contains the spiritual power of water. What do fellow Taoists think? It is a rare big cave of the best spiritual material. If I have enough time, I can refine a top-quality magic weapon with 10 treasure taboos for the third prince. This is true. Aolin's eyes lit up instantly. Ye Wengxiao, who had been drinking tea silently next to him, subconsciously widened his eyes. The best magic weapon is not a piece of cake. Except for the long-standing nascent soul cultivator who has the support of a big force behind it, it is difficult to see it. Really? Su Junming nodded affirmatively. Cough cough cough. Ye Wengxiao, who choked for a moment, waved his hands quickly when he saw the two people's eyes focused on him. You guys talk about your business, I'm fine. After the two looked away, Aolin couldn't wait to ask. I wonder how long it will take fellow Taoist Su to refine this treasure. Su Junming pondered for a moment and then said, Your Majesty, the old Dragon King, before he goes through the tribulation. Okay, just follow what fellow Taoist said. Aolin slammed the table excitedly. If he had this treasure, he would be confident to suppress his eldest brother Aoshiu who threatened his throne. Su Junming nodded and coughed. Third Prince, I spent a lot of energy refining the magic weapon and delayed my practice, so I still need some compensation. Over the years, he has cultivated his moral character, although his greed is not as strong as it was when he was young. But he never lets go of what he deserves. Understand? Aolin took out the things he had prepared in advance from the bag of magic. A wooden box 2 feet long, 1 foot wide and 1.5 feet high was opened and placed in front of Su Junming. There is an icy blue spiritual object inside, with rich water aura, like silk. This is the water spirit thread woven by the shark girl in the dragon palace, woven with spiritual water. It is 3 feet in size and has a large hole of high quality. Fellow Taoist, take a look and see if you are satisfied. Su Junming took it out, stroked it for a while, and nodded with satisfaction. This water spirit silk is the best thing for making robes, refining array diagrams, dharma flags, and spiritual flags. Enough. Su Junming thought to himself as he put Shui Ling Xiao away and looked at Aolin opposite. The dragon clan's family background is solid. There are 3 big whole-level spiritual materials in one shot, and they are either top grade or top grade. This was the first time Su Junming had seen such generosity. After talking about the business, the atmosphere of the subsequent chat became more relaxed. Ye Mangxiao, who had been silent until now, also intervened. The two men sang and harmonized, trying to find out the details and origins of Su Junming. But for half an hour, he was blinded by his jokes. After seeing the two people off, Su Junming returned to Daihuang Mountain. While refining elixirs and weapons, he also began to prepare for Qiao Shaoxin's catastrophe.